Welcome everyone, one and all, to the Committee for Better Banks webinar on why Wells Fargo workers, like myself and my co-panelists, support shareholder proposal number 11, which requests that the bank's board of directors adopt and publicly disclose a policy detailing its commitment to respect the international human right of freedom of association and collective bargaining. Regardless of what department or division we work in, Wells Fargo workers are stressed out over unfair pay, inadequate training, job insecurity, and workloads that don't make any sense. I especially hear this from colleagues who work in our branches. Finally, we as workers decided enough is enough. We needed to exercise our right to form a union. And our numbers are growing every day. Hundreds of our co-workers are taking action, joining our cause. Wells Fargo workers, myself included, are also shareholders. And so collectively, we have a long-term and vested interest in the success of the bank. This is not about chopping up the pie into a million little pieces. It's about growing the pie.
And after working at Wells Fargo for 7 years, it's clear to me that a union would be beneficial for the overall success of the employees, the customers, the shareholders, and the company. In fact, I know coworkers organizing in other locations have experienced threats of retaliation for handing out flyers that inform workers of our rights to unionize with other coworkers in our break rooms, cafeterias, and other non-working areas during our break times. I know a lot of my coworkers are terrified of losing their jobs, their livelihood, and are afraid to speak out. This is why it's so important that shareholders vote for Proposal 11. It would help reduce the fear employees experience about exercising our rights and the stress that management's anti-union actions can cause.
We believe that this proposal is important because there are so many Wells Fargo employees who do not even know that they have the right to form a union. I was one of many workers interviewed by the law firm Foley Hogue that Wells Fargo hired to conduct a human rights impact assessment after shareholders demanded accountability. But that report was never released and no reforms were made to protect our rights to raise concerns about our working conditions. Like many of my coworkers, I am also a shareholder. Therefore, as a fellow shareholder, I also believe that respecting our national human rights as working people to join and form unions is in the best interest of Wells Fargo and its shareholders.
Thanks you to the Committee for Better Banks for inviting me to speak today. I really want to commend you and your coworkers for your bravery in speaking out. The AFL-CIO has submitted a shareholder proposal that will go to a vote at Wells Fargo's annual shareholder meeting on April 25th. This proposal urges the board of directors to adopt and publicly disclose a policy on its commitment to respect the international human rights of freedom of association and collective bargaining. Specifically, the proposal requests that the policy be applicable to Wells Fargo's direct operations and its subsidiaries globally, include a commitment to non-interference when employees exercise their right to form or join trade unions, prohibit any member of management or agent of Wells Fargo from undermining the right to form or join trade unions or pressuring any employee from exercising this right, and finally, describe the ongoing due diligence process that Wells Fargo will use to identify, prevent, mitigate, and account for any violations of those rights, including how it will remedy any misaligned practices. Now, we're pleased that the two largest proxy voting advisors in the United States, Institutional Shareholder Services and Glass Lewis, have recommended a vote in favor of our proposal. And we urge all shareholders of Wells Fargo to support our proposal by voting for item 11 on management's proxy card for the April 25th shareholder meeting.
We just want to be able to exercise our right to freedom of association and our basic right to form a union without fear of retaliation.